Your nano tank goes from perfect to disaster in what, like 2 days? One moment it's crystal clear, the next it's cloudy, algae coated, and your fish looks stressed. But it doesn't have to be like that. I'm gonna show you my exact weekly nano tank routine that keeps my tanks crystal clear, my shrimp happy, and my parameters stable, without spending hours every weekend. Hey, I'm Michael from Aquascape Odyssey, and I run multiple nano tanks in this studio. Some have shrimp only, some have fish and shrimp, and some are high-tech planted aquariums. Nano tanks get a bad reputation because they crash a lot faster. But honestly, it doesn't have to be that way. If you keep a simple, repeatable checklist, they're actually way easier to keep than large, big tank planted aquariums. So in this video, I'll walk you step by step through the routine that I do every single week, what I do go through and touch, what I don't touch, and how I keep shrimp safe. Now, step one is a health check. That's what I do before I do anything. That allows me to know if I'm going to go through and do a simple maintenance or if I'm going to go through and address some serious type of problem in this tank. And I'm just asking myself a few simple questions here. Are the fish swimming normal, or are they hiding and breathing fast? Are the shrimp actively grazing all over the tank, or are they all huddled in one weird corner, or maybe swimming fast up a corner in the aquarium? Do I see snails gathering at the waterline? That can hint at maybe a low oxygen count in that aquarium. And I scan the glass, some of the plants, and hardscape to see if the algae has noticeably increased prior to what it was the previous week. If anything looked off, I would pause and I would probably go through and test the ammonia or nitrites, or maybe just be aware that I need to do a bigger water change. But if everything looks chill, like it does in this aquarium, I'm gonna continue on with my normal routine. Now, step number 2 is cleaning the viewing surface. You wanna make sure your tank looks great, obviously, but you don't wanna go crazy and remove all of the biofilm because your shrimp love biofilm. I start with the front glass. Now, sometimes I pick one of the sides if it's a viewing surface, but I'm not going crazy. I'm just removing the stuff that blocks the view. Now, on shrimp tanks, I purposefully leave algae and biofilm on the back glass and hardscape. That's free food and it helps stabilize the system. Now, if there is a little surface film, I typically use a paper towel to help pull off that surface film, or I go through and tweak the outflow to get more surface ripple. But again, I'm never chasing perfectly sterile water. This is about balance. Clean enough for you to enjoy, but not crazy enough where you're wrecking your ecosystem. Now, before I go through and do a water change, I typically go through and test my water parameters, especially for all of my high-tech nano aquariums. I like to spot check temperature, pH, KH, and your nitrates. In a stable nano, these numbers shouldn't be a roller coaster bouncing every single week. If your nitrates are higher than usual, I know I'll need to do a slightly bigger water change or maybe back off on the feeding. Now, if your nitrates are always rock bottom, especially in a heavily planted tank, that tells me I need to stay consistent with fertilization. Step number 4 is what most people stress about in the hobby, and it is water changes. In my nano tanks, I do around 20 to 30% water changes weekly. And here is how I keep shrimp safe. Number 1, I pre-treat the new water in a bucket using dechlor that goes directly into the bucket, not into the tank, so that your fish and shrimp aren't exposed to that untreated tap water for even a second. I also try to match the temperature as much as possible. So a little helpful tip here is keeping the bucket near the tank or in the same room of the tank so that matches the temperature. Always do a quick thermometer check so that you're right in the ballpark of the existing water. Number 2 is I use a small diameter hose and I go slowly when I'm pulling out the water. I siphon from open areas or maybe around the substrate where I just did that glass cleaning, but I avoid deep gravel vacuuming in any of my shrimp tanks so I don't suck up any shrimplets or destroy too much of that beneficial bacterial layer. When I fill, I do the exact same thing. Slow in, slow out. I have a reverse siphon that allows me to drizzle the water in so I'm not blasting the fish or the shrimp around. If you remember anything from this video, small, consistent water changes are way better than big, aggressive ones, especially for nano tanks. After the water change, I focus on the plants and gear. This is where your tank goes from fine to epic. I trim any stems that are shading everything below or maybe even breaking the surface a little. Now, if a group is getting a little laggy, I tend to cut the tops and replant them to keep it nice and dense and bushy. Now on nano tanks, that little bit of trimming each week keeps things looking fine-tuned and not becoming an overgrown jungle. Now for my filters, I don't clean them every week. Go check out my filter guide on what I do for my deep cleaning of my filters every month. Now on my CO2 setups, I glance at the diffuser, I check the bubble rate and the pH or the drop checker just to make sure nothing has clogged and my CO2 levels are where I expect them to be. This is all 5-minute stuff. This makes your equipment run efficiently and your scape looking intentional, not accidental. Now the last step in the process is feeding, and of course, a vibe check. After maintenance, I feed a little less than usual and just watch. Healthy fish should come up confidently for all the food and not hang back in the shadows. Now with shrimp, they should go right back to grazing along the plants, wood, and glass. If I see frantic glass climbing, everybody gasping at the surface, or fish hiding, that's my cue to retest and maybe do an extra small water change. Most weeks, everything looks relaxed. That's when you know you have the perfect weekly routine in your tank. So that is my weekly routine. A health check, a light glass cleaning, a spot parameter check, especially on my CO2 tanks, a slow, shrimp-safe water change, a little plant trimming if needed, an equipment check, and a final feed, all in around 15 minutes. If you copy this routine and adjust it to your setup, your nano tanks will stay cleaner, more stable, and way less stressful for you and the fish. If you're planning a new nano tank, make sure you check out my top 5 nano fish for aquascaping. I cover in that video how they are shrimp safe and how I use these fish in my different tank setups. Drop a comment with your nano size and any problems that you're experiencing, from algae to water clarity, or maybe you're having some shrimp drama, and I'll use them to make another video moving forward. Thanks for hanging out with me today and my tiny fish and shrimp as well. I'll see you all on the next video.